Hey guys, Devon here. So we've got the deck list. One of you asked for, or some of you asked for. This we've got two deck lists to show, mine and Musa's. So this is my build, which is it's using like a small Therion package, and then Musa's is without the Therion package. They're quite similar. Going to talk about the pros and cons to both. So starting with this one, it's a Therion build. It's like a small Therion package. So Pathfinder is like can get you either a Regulus negate, so search a field spell, search Regulus, summon it, and they have a negate to make yourself hand trap proof, or you can like grab Oracle to get you to your scales. It can get you Mystic Mine, and because it tributes itself, you can protect it with Gamma, which is nice. You play 3 of the Zefra field spell. It's a rotor of any scale. It also has like some useful effects. We use Siege one and the Synchro one the most, which like stacks the top card of the deck. So we can do like a croc combo, which I'll explain when we get to the extra deck. We play 3 Providence, which is like another rotor. So this deck has like 6 rotors plus Terraforming, 7 rotors. So it has like a lot of rotors, which is nice. It such as spells, traps, and scales, and it has like a Balinx effect in the graveyard, except the turn it was sent. So it's nice to make sure you don't lose to like Lightning Storm, Chimera, Twin Twister, a late Blackout, things like that. We play Prosperity. If you're a budget player, you can play things like Desires, Extravagance, or you can just cut this down to 40 and just play without pot cards. It's the best pot card because we care more about quality rather than quantity. We want to choose the right like card to add to our hand to be able to pen summons. So drawing 2 isn't that nutty in a deck that doesn't have that many extenders, but it's not bad if you're a budget player. Like I've played Desires in real life and it's worked out fine. I've played Extrav, it's worked out fine. Sometimes it like is a bit of a pain to play around, but you can always just not play pot cards, play 40, play other normal summons. Prosperity hopefully gets a reprint. So the deck's still like pretty good without Prosperity, but Prosperity is really nice because it helps you dig for going second cards, and it's just it's a really good consistency piece card. We play 1 Terraforming. We can use it for the fear and stuff if we like opened some of these cards. We can use it for Oracle, or we can use it for Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine is a very fun card. Sky Striker list just topped with it, so maybe people are prepped for it now. It's pretty good into Branded, pretty good into Sword Soul. You just slap it down, and then you can either deck them out or wait for enough cards to be able to push. We play 1 Metaverse. Going second, it's fine versus something like Branded because they're going to use Chimera to pop your scales, and then you just set the Metaverse, flip it, and then either deck them out or try to wait for a push. We were actually on this heavy. We were on a heavier mine build, like Musa made like a heavier mine build before that Sky Striker list even topped with the demises of the land and like multiple mines and stuff. So, but yeah, people might be prepped for it now, but it's still a good card. It's still one of that you can search. We play for 3 Zefra, has the effect to send a scale to the top of your extra deck and then copies that scale. So you can send new, becomes scale 7, send a 1 scale, becomes scale 1. Usually sending new. This deck can play with 2 cards, so you can just go like 1 scale plus Zephyr will get you new, which will then add a counter trap like pillars, which will then add you wars and other interruptions. So the deck can play with 2 cards fairly well, and the more you have, the higher the ceiling. We play 3 new, so we play 5 high scales to make sure we don't ever run out in a grind game, but we also don't want to see too many high scales on our opening hand. So we play the 3 of the best one, which is new, because we use it for like rank 6 plays, synchro plays. Is a big body. It's actually a pain if you summon multiple of these for them to clear. Play Wendy because it's a level 3. Helps you make some synchros, get some resources back. This is a beta. It pops set cards. It's level 4. Onto the low scales. We play more low scales than high scales because we want to see the low scales over the high scales paired with Zefrath. So we play 1 Pilica. It's level 3. If they solemn your cards, you can use it to like revive your Zephyr cards and make like link plays or whatever. We play 1 Zephyr Naga. It like can chain block. It can make like use it to usually make like a mega or other synchros. It can be if you do Zephyr Naga as chain link 2 when you pen summon it and a Tellarknight like this one over here. You can go chain link 1 Tellarknight card to pop your scale, and then chainlink 2 Naga to bounce your scale, so that this will still resolve because it says destroy them, but you won't pop your scale. You play 2 of this because it's one of the best low scales. It's a free pop, big booty, level 4. We play 3 Raxi. It's the best low scale because it lets you go into your synchros. Synchro toolbox. It can chain block. It's also a Yang Zing. We play 3 Gamma because it protects you from Droll, Ash, Ogre, and even when you set up your board, you can set up Lambda or just clear your board to make it live. It's one of the best going second cards, going first cards in the main deck that we play. You never remove this card. It's just too good. And obviously the best card in the deck is Driver. We also play Vanity's Fiend. We get it off of Croc, which I'll explain when we go into the extra deck, which I think I already mentioned. We play with the reason. Sorry, the reason we play Vanity's Fiend is because like branded are on Super Poly. There are other targets, but everything just gets Super Polyed. So we just went, you know what, Vanity's Fiend plus Counter Trap. It's probably game versus a lot of the decks, and it's very safe. In this deck, you could just cut it. You don't have to play it because you already got a normal summon that you could search off Croc if you just want to play one less of a break. But I think this is really powerful. It's a turn ender. Sorry, it's a game ender. It's a game skip basically. Going on to the Zefra spells and traps, so we play the one path as an extra deck lock. Actually, it's not. Everyone misreads it as that. It's both players can only special from the hand in extra deck. Most people read it as yeah, like you can't special from the hand in extra deck, so they just pass versus it or concede versus it for some reason. They think you're playing Monarch. I don't know, but it stops them summoning tokens, stops them summoning from graveyard, stops them summoning from banish. It like kills a lot of decks. It kills Therion, destroys Sword Soul, destroys loads of rogue decks. We play the one-off counter Divine Strike. We play the one-off Pillars. If you pop a new on their turn, you can then use new to get like either follow up or Search of the War, which we play at free. It's like a hand trap. If you control 2 Zephyr scales, pop 1 Zephyr card you control, pop 1 card they control. Because it can be used from your hand straight away without setting it, it's the card we play at free because it's actually the trap you want to see going second because it can dodge stuff like Veiler Imperm. It can like force out threats straight away, and playing free just makes it so that you can grind. Going on to the extra deck, we play 1 Horus. It's the reason why we play the level 3s. Being able to make this take control of a card, negate a card, it can chain block itself. And then also when we take control of a card, we can go into Sheridan because we can use an opponent's monster as a level 6 for it. So you take a card, negate a card, make Sheridan, remove a card. So it gives you a lot of removal options. It's really nice, really powerful. We play like a Hulk package on the opponent's turn. If we had enough bodies turn 1, sometimes we do this where we go like Hulk, tag it out into shooting Riser Dragon, and then you can modulate its level and use whatever body you had left to make Black Rose or Horus on the opponent's turn. If you're making Black Rose, you're doing that if you have Providence engraved and protect all your scales, because obviously you don't want to pop your entire field, because your scales are your follow-up. We play Omega for Gamma. We play Croc for the Vanity's Fiend, so you go Chainlink 1 Croc, Chainlink 2 Oracle to stack and draw the Vanity's Fiend, and then you tribute some of the Vanity's Fiend. Also, it has a pop effect, comes up. We play Chowfang for a body, and also if you pop it, it can add a tuner, so it can add a Gamma. We play a Barone because it's really good level 10. We won't usually set it up turn 1, but you can, and then you set it up later. We play another level 10. This has some synergy. Sometimes you just need a big booty that's hard to move. And it also like synergizes with like Divine Strike. You can actually banish cards. Because this deck struggles with banishing resources from the graveyard. You usually lock them out of the grind with the path. So having this is kind of nice. This like unclogs your extra monster zone if you really need it. This is unfortunately Beyond is nice, but it does return Zephyr to scale 5. So you either do it after you play to get follow up, or you pen summon, you link it into it, you don't use the add effect, and then you just use it for 2 link arrows and a pop 2. We play Borg Blocker. It protects your scales. Can use it like versus Blackout, Twin Twister. We usually use it like with Gamma and Driver going second if we resolved it on our turn. Lambda makes your Gamma live, and then Boral Sword is for the OTK, specifically versus branded because you don't actually win that grind, so you need to end quite quickly. The side deck we play 1 Epsilon. It's like we side that in versus a lot of decks because lots of decks are siding anti-spell, D-barrier. Sort of have blackout. Play 3 Shifter. It's pretty good. We think it's pretty good versus branded, but they can kind of play through it. Sword Soul can kind of play through it, so it's like Really good versus the rogue decks and also Therion Punk, stuff like that. Contact C I'm trying out, not sure how good it is yet. It could be a turn skip versus the branded fusion decks, and some maybe if they have poly they just play through, so I'm not sure yet. Still testing. For exchange for going first, we don't play deep barrier because a turn skip's not that great. We actually can use this card, which is a pretty nutty card if your deck can use it. You set all your scales, you set all your rotors, so you activate all your scales, set all your rotors, and you activate exchange, take a hand trap, take a plot card, take an engine card, take a board breaker card, give them driver because we always draw it. We also side in non-fusion area versus branded. So we side these 5 in going first versus branded because that matchup can be kind of hard because they have a lot of gas, and this just makes it so that you protect this and you just win. They just can't play the game. We play 3 Lava Golem versus like combo decks like probably the Therion Punk and the other Brave decks. Probably side it in. And we play the 1 Zombie World for Flunder, because we play the 1 Mine. The Mine's already pretty good into them. We play 3 Pathfinder. We can croc combo into Pathfinder post-siding, and then just like grab the Zombie World, which can just destroy them. So that's my build, the Therion build. The pros, it's able to play through more hand traps because it can get a negate. It can bait more hand traps with Pathfinder. It can end on a stronger board versus something like branded if you can't always get the Vanity's Fiend, because the Vanity's Fiend play isn't super consistent. You can always get like multiple negates or regulus, which negates the effect, not activation, and that's important. So it can negate branded fusion even if they have lost, and they can't activate multiple branded fusions. The cons with it is you do just play 2 hard bricks, which can just lead to some annoying hands where you just open like one of these bricks with like driver or vanities, and you're like, oh fuck. So that's maybe why you want to remove vanities if you're going to play this. It's up to you. And it has the Therion's package does have some conflictions with Shifter. So depending on the format, we will go back to main deck Shifter. It's a very strong card, but at the moment we don't think it's the greatest because Sword Soul can just do blackout for it. Branded can kind of play through it. They can do masquerades and they can like grind. So and Brave decks obviously can set up a Griffin negate. So we generally side the Shifter, but if it ever comes back into the format like this, because it sends as cost, it doesn't really work with it. So the next build is Musa's build. This is more of a budget option because you're not playing the Therion stuff, and you can always just swap out Pot of Prosperity for whatever. He plays, so it's basically the exact same thing, with the main differences being 1 less Pathfinder because you don't have the Regulus line of play, so you don't want to draw too many multiples of the same field spell. You play a double Mine because we still want to go over 40 cards to make sure deck out is an option. And he plays 1 more low scale, just to make up for the fact that he lost 1 starter, I guess. Like we're on 3 Pathfinder, he's on 2 and then 1 low scale, and then he's not playing the bricks. So he's got like a slightly stronger going second because another Mystic Mine. He has more playable hands because less bricks. So those are the pros, and also less confliction with Shifter. So this will be a build that we return to if Shifter ever becomes strong again. Cons are that it loses to some hand traps a bit more because like an imperm on you can end you a little bit, depending on how good your hand was. Whereas like obviously Pathfinder can kind of deal with that if you were on the Therion package. And obviously Pathfinder is just like it's got a bit of a lower ceiling if you don't end on the Vanity's Fiend, because Pathfinder opening it can raise the ceiling of the board with the Regulus line. The side deck's the same except he's on 2 Epsilon because he's not on the Contact C. And then the Prohibition, he calls Twin Twister versus decks that he wants to mine deck out. I think he does it versus Branded. I'm not sure if he's done it yet. What I have seen him do is like call Branded Fusion versus them in a grind game after you like mine locked them and then they just kind of lost. So that was kind of funny. The extra deck is the exact same, I believe. So very similar decks because we talk a lot together about like Zefra theory. So very similar looking decks. I think both decks are kind of format dependent, so it kind of depends. Try things out, try different side options, see what works for you. So in the next few days we have another video coming out, which will probably be like a challenge video between me and Musa, so look forward to that. That's it. So thank you for watching.